The Art of Fire. Hey Foster, what's up today on YouTube?
We're going to be making a brandy snifter in a green color in honor since it's going to be
What's his name?
St. Patty's Day tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the top of the morning to you all.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to be making a brandy snifter in what's called an aventurine green. It has a sparkle to it. And it'll be a brandy snifter, which will have a short stem and a spun foot. Open it up, and we know that you all enjoy it, and then you can order yours as well. But it doesn't have to be in the green, but it can be. We'll do whatever you might be interested in.
Alrighty, all right,
so
here we go.
Here we go.
So while Foster's getting set and picking up a piece of green, let's tell you about a special event we got going on for the month of March. Something special in addition to the St. Patrick's Day and the wearing of the green is Cats for Kids. And these are a special designed cat by Todd Hansen. We call it the Maryland cat. We'll come down here for a picture of a poster that doesn't have a steel post hanging in front of it. At any rate, a special design celebrating, good morning Barbara, the Maryland colors, since the studio's been associated with the Maryland Renaissance Fair for so long, and we are located in Maryland. So these special sleeping cats will be $60 each. 50% of the proceeds go to No Kid Hungry. A lot of you helped us out with that when we were raising money back in November, buying drinking glasses and things. So this time around it's the cats. They'll be a limited edition. Only during the month of March they'll be numbered and signed. So help us out. You can order online, you can send us an email, or you can call 301-253-6642. And now that Foster's got his green on the end of the iron and he's melting it in the glory hole, let's walk back down here and see what's happening. Oh, let me get this camera adjusted a little. Alrighty, so Foster has a small piece of a color called aventurine green. It kind of has a sparkly finish in it, and that's what's going to be the color in the drinking glass. And as he said, if you'd like to order one for yourself or a pair, you can do that, and it's possible to get them. Crazy morning for Barbara. Have to head to the dentist in 30 minutes. Okay, Barbara, that's great. It will not only be broadcasting live, but you'll be able to view it after the fact when we post it later today. So there's the melted aventurine green on the end, just a little sliver of glass. Foster will roll that out on the metal table called a marver, give it a little bit of shape, and it also cools it just a little bit before he blows into it. Now what he'll do is he'll blow hard, trap the air with his index finger. The air has nowhere to go but out into the hot glass. It isn't going to break that stainless steel, and it's not going to blow his bony finger off the end of the pipe. It doesn't have that much air pressure, but enough to make it move. Good morning, Bridget. Welcome aboard. Okay, so now we've got a little bubble started in the aventurine green. Foster lets that cool some, and he'll go gather his first gather. He's going into our furnace, which holds about 400 pounds of molten glass. It's clear glass. We choose to melt clear glass so that we can add color to our pieces, although some places have color furnaces. But if we had blue in that, we'd be making blue until we got rid of 400 pounds of glass. Foster will have a seat at his workbench and grab one of the cherry wood blocks. It's basically a cup-shaped piece of wood. It's kept in water. That ensures that the wood doesn't crack. The wood cup is made while the wood is green, and it's maintained in water all the time. And then we're able to use that to shape the hot glass and avoid breaking it, cracking it up. So that wooden block will probably last a few years, and he keeps it in the water. He'll use it again just to kind of chill the outside of the glass and give it a nice shape. The shape, the symmetry of the glass, the length and diameter, all important considerations when we're trying to make the piece of glass. If we get it too long, too short, it's kind of the Goldilocks art. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. All those sorts of things. Now that it's cooled off a little bit, Foster will go back and gather a second time. This will be all he needs for his brandy snifter. So he'll take another gather out of the furnace, and if we see him point the pipe at an angle with his right hand held high, that means he's going to be stripping the glass back into the furnace. It'll all depend on how much he gathers. There he goes. That angle on the iron right there allowed a little glass to run off, but it remains in the furnace, usable for another one of the glass blowers. He'll come back to the bench again, pick up another block, a little bit larger this time. You might be able to see a little bit of steam come off the block from time to time, and he's actually going to use the Marver over here now to cool the end of it. See how it changed the shape of the glass because he held the pipe at an angle. He blows again and traps the air and gets a little bit more air bubble into the glass. He's got about a minute or so of working time when he comes back to his bench each time. Yep, he's going to go into the optic mold now. So this is a cylinder that he's going to drop it down in there, and you can see the ridges in it. And after he blows real hard with the glass down in there, he's making a brandy snifter, Bridget. All right, then he blows and traps the air, and when he comes out, he'll show us the ridges in the piece. And there we go. There's your ridges. A little bit more air, and he's got to keep control of that. And away we go. So there are optic ridges. That type of mold is decorative in nature. It gives us the ridges in the glass, but it's not the type of mold that actually shapes the piece of glass into its finished form. That's all done by hand, what we call freehand or offhand glass blowing. He's using the metal blades of the jacks to form a point of separation. We call it a jack line or a neckline, and he's simply blowing the glass out now to a little larger diameter. We put that constriction in the glass up near the blowing iron so that we can break it free there later on. Most pieces we make in the studio are formed by doing the lower half to 2/3 first, then transferring the piece to another pipe and finishing the top of the vessel. He's got his calipers on the bench ready to take the measurements. This is one of a pair. He's not going to make them both right now, but you'll be able to see this on the YouTube video. If you join us a little later this morning on our FaceTime live stream at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, you'll see the mate made. And that's why he's got a pair of calipers there to check his dimensions. So right now he's forming the cup of the vessel. And the constriction near the blowpipe again is what will be the opening or the mouth of this brandy snifter. He's using a piece of folded wet newspaper to chill the bottom. By chilling the bottom, he keeps it from inflating excessively, and he's able to push the piece over there and blow. And now we can see a good diameter on there. He's checking his diameter and checking the length, and once he has that to where he wants, he'll have one of the other guys help him out. Here comes Josh to take the piece. Josh will be flashing the piece. The flash heat is just a momentary introduction. See, there goes Josh into the glory hole with it, and after a few seconds he takes it out. Very important to keep the glass over 1,000 degrees. Even a couple hundred degrees above that is really nice. That keeps it from cracking. If the glass gets too cold, say down in the 900 range, we could start having cracks appear and it could shatter. Also, that glory hole runs at about 2,300 degrees. So if the piece of glass we have is a little bit closer to, say, 11 or 1,200, there's not so much thermal shock if we put it back into the glory hole suddenly. If that glass that Josh is holding got down to around 850 degrees, the sudden shock could make it shatter. There goes Foster with the bit for the stem. He drops it on that's actually the bottom of the vessel at this point. And now he'll use his jacks to gently shape that drop of glass. He'll give it a little bit of taper, and then he'll use the jacks to create a little bit of a separation, and then to start to lean them out. You'll see his hand move over toward the floor, and the jacks go more closer to horizontal. And as he gets this shape going, he'll pull that stem out to just the length he wants. And by setting the length of the stem and measuring it also, he'll be able to make sure that he matches up with the next one he makes. His pairs will be the same size. A quick reheat there, he'll be back, finish the stem, and then it'll be time to put a foot on the stem. He has a special pair of jacks there. They're made of cardboard pegs, or paper pegs we call them. They steal less heat, they shape the glass nicely. Foster's got everything in line like he wants, and he hands it off to Josh once again for a flash heat. So let's see what Josh is doing there. See, he's in there for maybe 4 or 5 seconds or so, and then he removes it completely from the heat. He keeps an eye on Foster, so he knows if he needs to do another little flash. And this requires one more probably, because Foster's going back for a second gather. So by watching what's going on, those momentary flashes of heat keep it warm. Here comes Foster with the glass. He'll sit at the bench, and he'll use his jacks to create a little point of separation or flow. This helps the glass fall off of the pipe a little more easily. And in just a moment, he'll bring it right up here, drop it on the stem. Once he clips it off, Josh holds it horizontal, and he turns it. This keeps it from falling off center, while Foster grabs what we call the footboard. 2 pieces of wood hinged together. One side has notches in it. The notch surrounds the stem, and as he squeezes the board together, he's able to thin the glass out and create that beautiful disc of a foot. Once he's got that thinned and it's to the diameter he wants, he'll take a reheat, come back and shape that foot to a really elegant profile. As he's in here, he's flashing the piece and heating the foot. Now he's got a special carbide tool, and he can use it to flatten the bottom, but it's got a really slick profile that if he inverts it, it's got the curvature that he wants to appear on the top part of the foot. And that's how he gets that elegant flow, that concave surface that's just a perfect line. When he gets that all flashed and ready to go, it's time now for the transfer to another iron. So he hands it off to his assistant, Josh Reese, who will flash it, keep it warm, and Foster will form what we call a punty. A punty is just a little bit of glass on the end of an iron. Think of it kind of like a glue bit. And that's what's going to stick the piece to this pipe. And they'll break it free. So Foster's going to shape it on the marver. We're going to come over here to give you a good view of this process. Josh keeps the piece turning. Foster will come over in a moment. Balances the pipe and hits the center of the foot. In case it's off by just a hair, he uses that file to press down. He's got it centered. He scores the neck and then taps the pipe, and off it comes. And that's a successful transfer. That's usually the breath-holding moment in most glass blowers' experience. You just want to make sure that you don't wind up with a floor model. And it happens, but not very often.
The traditional floor model.
45 years of glass blowing will do that for you. So now Foster is going to be faced with the task of keeping the piece warm enough not to crack, but heating just the mouth or opening of the vessel so that he can work on it. So you can see now that he's got a good half to 2/3 of the vessel completed. Now it's just working on the top part, the opening. Now that was cold enough to fracture. It's going to take a little while to reheat to the point that he can manipulate the glass. But when he comes back to the bench, we can see that the bright yellow or orange glow is all at the top of the piece. That's where the heat is. He's going to use his jacks to shape things just a little bit. Level the edge. And once he gets this squared away, he'll probably take another reheat before doing any more work. With that color in there, you can kind of see the heat actually dissipating before your very eyes. And that's why we say you got about a minute or so to work the piece before you got to go back, reheat it, and get it soft again. So once again, Foster's going to concentrate his heat in the upper 2 to 3 inches of the vessel. And he'll, every once in a while, you'll see him push the whole thing back in to warm it all so it doesn't get too soft, too cold. And he's concentrating the heat in the top. He's going to use his paper pegs again because they don't steal as much heat. This allows him to reach in there with a fairly wide blade or tip, if you will, and create the shape that he wants. By not stealing as much heat as you would with metal blades, he's able to work the glass a little bit longer. He'll check his measurements. He wants to make sure that the opening on both of the vessels he'll make will be the same size. This is for a custom order. If you'd like one of these, get in touch with us. Doesn't have to be a Venturine green. It could be any color you want. 301-253-6642 is our phone number. artoffire.com reaches us online. Another beautiful job there, Foster. Another quick reheat just to make sure there's heat throughout. And now he's going to take the piece off the putty by using a small butter knife and tapping it all around the joint of the putty to the foot. That will cool it. He's not trying to knock it off. When he taps it, it breaks the putty free. He blows that little shard of glass away, and now it's into the annealer.
There we go.
Okay. Into the annealer for approximately 8 hours of very slow cooling to keep from breaking. So before we go, I'd like to take one more opportunity to let you know about our special event going on for March, the Cats for Kids. We are donating to No Kid Hungry, 50% of the proceeds from these. It's a limited edition. There'll be no production of these after March. Todd came up with a design in the Maryland colors, and they're $60 each. Half goes to charity. It includes shipping except for any international customers. So thank you for joining us, and in about 10 minutes, 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we'll be over on Facebook doing the live video for you. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.